Hey guys, it's Elizabeth. Today I want to talk about anxiety and intuition because it's the number one question I get. How can you tell the difference between when it's your intuition telling you something or it's your anxiety? And I have talked about this before, I've made videos about this before, and it's not something I hide that I struggle too with anxiety like so many other people. And it is hard when you're on the spiritual path and you're trying to discern between intuition and anxiety, which is why it's a topic I keep coming back to. This past week, I was on a work trip and I did pretty well, and it was on the way back. So, from the meeting to the airport, getting the rental car returned, all of that, where my anxiety started to creep in. And I really did feel like my gut was telling me something that I needed to pay attention to. So when I got to the Avis return line to get rid of my car, there was not room to go into the normal line, and they had me reroute into a parking spot, which is not normally what happens when you do a rental drop off when you're returning your car. And I brought my keys over to the person and I wanted a receipt. Obviously, I was there for work. And usually I get a receipt emailed to me right at the drop off line, or they print one out for me. And the guy was rushed. He didn't check in my car. I gave him the keys. He asked for the keys. I gave him the keys. He didn't check in my car. He said, "You're in the Toyota over there." And then he was like, "You're good to go. Go, go." I said, "Can you just check it in right now while I'm here and give me the receipt? I'd feel better if I had my receipt." He's like, "I can't do it right now. I got to take care of this line first." And he assured me that everything was okay. I had that sinking feeling and I didn't want to miss my flight. So I took his word for it, but I still had that sinking feeling the whole rest of the trip. And I was asking myself, is this anxiety? Is this intuition? And getting stuck in that loop that so many of us do. I hear it all the time. So, how do you know the difference? And I want to just take it back to the basics. That's always my advice every single time. You take it back to the basics by following the method every single time, the same way, looking for those subtle answers. So when you ask your intuition a question, you always get an answer. Now, the tricky part is, are you calm enough in a quiet enough place to be able to understand the messages your intuition are giving you and what they mean? And I know because I've practiced a lot, a real lot, that in that kind of space, there's nothing I can do. That is not a good time and place for me to tap into my intuition and get reliable results when I'm that anxious, because I'm playing out in my worst case scenario. What if he didn't check in the car? What happened? This is a work trip. This is something I'm on my travel card for my work, and just all of these stupid things going through my head. And I know many of you can relate to that negative mind loop and running down like worst case scenario. And you've really got to stop and tell yourself you're going to just, you know, get out of my head. I'm here, I'm present right now, and move forward. And that's what I did, even though the whole trip I was having this horrible anxiety about the car, which then it was when I got to the airport. I had a connecting flight. My first flight went fine. I made it from Raleigh to Charlotte, and then I was coming back to Cleveland. And it was in the Charlotte airport. I ran over, got to my gate on time with 10 minutes to spare before we were boarding. We boarded that flight, and then there was a mechanical issue, and we got delayed. And then we had to get off the plane. Then I had this sinking feeling, I'm not going to get home tonight. It was already, we were supposed to leave at 8:45 p.m. about, and then eventually they said they had a flight for us, a new plane for us at like 11:45 p.m. And I just had the worst anxiety. I'm not going to get home tonight. I'm exhausted. I had been up since 3 a.m. that day. And then, of course, your anxiety is getting worse because you're tired and you're traveling and it's not going how you want it. And so the point of this whole story is I knew in that moment it wasn't a great time for me to tap into my intuition because the anxiety was so strong. But had I been able to meditate and calm my mind and follow the method, I probably would have. Did I in the moment? No. Should I have? Yes. It's always one of those lessons learned. Hindsight's 2020 sometimes. But when you practice your intuition, you go back to the basics, you have that method, you're meditating regularly, so you're able to kind of tune out that crazy, loopy mind that I was just talking about and focus in on that present moment. Try to relax yourself to get information. So that gut feeling that I was carrying around with me the whole day about not getting home, and that's what the anxiety, that underlying feeling that I was having the whole day was about, I think. I was scared I was not going to get home that night. And I had a busy day of meetings the next day. So traveling would have thrown a wrench in it. I was supposed to get my kids the next day to school, all of those other things that were playing out in a negative way. The reason why intuition gets confused with that anxiety is because you have that feeling that something isn't going to go your way, that it's not working out for you, that something terrible is going to happen, the plane's going to crash, all of these crazy things that we tell ourselves. And we tell ourselves it's our intuition when it is not. So when you think about intuition and that gut feeling, anxiety shows up like that gut feeling, but intuition is more like a psychic knowing. So intuition just covers a little piece of what the term psychic means. Psychic is being able to see the future, but intuition is so much more than that. It can show up in so many different ways. But it's the same way that psychic information comes to you, that real intuitive information comes to you, meaning it is not emotional. It is a glimpse of something outside of yourself. Now, a lot of people call me on this when it's their intuition speaking. It comes from within. And yes, you're right, it comes from within, but it feels like it's coming from without you, outside of you, sorry. And so the more you practice with all of the intuition exercises that I post and are in my course and in my ebook, if you want to download, you can download that. I'll post the link for you. As you practice those exercises, you start to learn how it's coming through. And every single time I've had an intuitive hit, it does not feel like anxiety. And so that's why I tell people go back to the basics, because when you are calm and you show up with your intuition, say, intuition, show me what's going to happen with this, what I need to know. Maybe a better question is, intuition, show me what I need to know about my trip home this evening and my flights. And when you get calm and you can get these signs and the symbols coming from your intuition isn't going to tell you straight out, you're going to die on the flight home, or you're going to miss your flight and you're not going to get home until tomorrow morning. It's not going to give you that. It's going to be something so strange that you're not going to understand at first, like the example I always give, the red bicycle. Okay, so intuition, why are you showing me this red bicycle, and how is it mean anything about my trip home? And then you'll get something else. Like, I'm just going to give you an example. I'm not really tuning into my intuition right now, but let's say it gives you a pencil. And then you ask the clarifying questions and it takes you down this path. And so that's how you know when it's your intuition speaking, when the symbols are showing up. You are following the process, you're following the method. The symbols are giving you that breadcrumb trail to give you that final message. And that's the lesson that I'm trying to portray right now, because I was so anxious the other day. I wasn't able to find it. I wasn't able to get there. And it even happens for me. And I've been using my intuition for so long. I have been practicing. I do intuition exercises almost every day, like I preach on this channel, and I preach to all my clients. However, when you know yourself enough, when you are not going to get the intuitive answers you need, that's good enough for me. If I was in a real situation where I needed that information, like right then, I know enough that I need to stop. I need to find a quiet place and I need to find my zen to be able to move forward and tap in. So, as you work with your intuition, you'll learn those things about yourself, which are equally as important as learning how your intuition is speaking to you. So that's my little spiel today on anxiety and intuition. And I hope it was helpful because I know so many of us deal with these anxiety issues, and it is so hard to get stuck in that trap of feeling like, oh, it's my intuition speaking when it's not. If your intuition speaking to you, it's actually going to feel like a psychic experience getting the information rather than just that sinking feeling in your stomach that something's going to go wrong. If you are a highly anxious person, then you know that feeling happens a lot. And when there's something high stakes like traveling or whatever it might be, whatever your triggers are, you just need to know what those are, go with the flow, and maybe it isn't the right time for you to use your intuition. And then as you practice using your intuition, understand what you need to do to be able to tap in. And so if you want some help with this, I got a lot of resources for you. And I would love to know if you have had a similar experience like me where you felt trapped and your intuition's going wild and you knew, okay, not my time to tap in. Or tell me in the comments, what did you do to work around it? All right. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll catch you next time.